Hi and welcome everyone. This is the Hobo Prepper, and I am Friar Tuck. Okay, so let's talk turkey today. So what I'm going to be talking about is different hobo personalities. Okay, there are some algorithms that I've started noticing, and there's going to be a lot more than I can explain because there's quite a few of them, and it's think of it like the worst parts of the ego and the worst parts of a person's personality, and then kind of take that and magnify it, and sometimes that seems to be what you get. So let me talk about something that I've noticed, and it's happened throughout most of these breakups that I have watched. Is that what the women like to do? Is they like to go around and they like to slander your name. Now, why is this important? Because in the homeless community, that's kind of that's your safety net. You create relationships with people so that sometimes if you need a place to camp, or if you need this or you need that, or you just want somebody to talk to or whatever, you have those relationships within the community. And she does this to damage him, in a lot of the same ways that he in return reminds her that she really didn't do much in gathering all that stuff. He went out, he got it, he worked for it, he brought it home so that she could use it. And now that she's broken up with him, he's like, well, screw you then, I'm done. Especially considering she starts slandering his name, because that's kind of how the breakup starts, is she'll slander his name and then come home and do the breakup before she actually does the breakup. And him, in his anger, this is his only form of retaliation, is to say, well, all this is mine to begin with, so get to stepping. And so you will see, if you see fights and stuff like this that happen, and a lot of it, the men don't hit like what they used to back in the day, because if you actually do lay your hands on a woman, you are going to jail. And the thing is you better not leave a mark, and you better not have witnesses. And considering, we all live out in the forest, just like when I got mad at that girl, there was 3 people that were watching me, to make sure that I didn't step out of line, because if I would have, they would have come and dealt with it. There is a silent security that happens within the community. So it's not like you can go out there and just lay your hands on a woman. So when a woman says that a man hits her, it has got to be something where nobody's aware of it and nobody can see it, which that is rare. Even in your tent, you don't even get privacy, because you get to hear everybody else, and everybody else gets to hear you. Okay, but that is kind of the way that breakups happen out here. It seems like it's happened to me, and it's happened to many other guys around here. I've been watching, for some reason, Puckett went through a breakup, and the next door neighbor went through a breakup, and the other neighbor went through a breakup, and it's like Jiminy Christmas. And plus, I know a couple other people that went through a breakup, and they all had the same thing happen to them. Another thing that you've got to worry about are what I like to call leeches. Leeches are those people that will come up to you and they will just kind of slowly siphon your stuff off. They'll be your friend, they'll be your buddy, they'll go to the store for you, they'll do this, they'll do that. And before you know it, you have you've given away half of your resources to the other person for all the different things that they just kind of did for you, because you thought they were trying to be your friend. In reality, they were trying to hustle you out of whatever resources that you have. And this is something that they're not very common out here, but there are those people that do it. And these are the people that generally have heavy drug habits as well. And so they're very good at creating that relationship, building that trust, and getting people to slowly give their resources. You also have you have the crazies out here, of course, and those are the ones that are always yelling. Another one that you have is I like when it comes to the military community. The veterans, I have, it's a love-hate relationship, because on one hand, my old man, he's retired military, he's retired Army, My grandfather retired Army. So, I mean, I grew up around the military, and it's sad to see that my dad was, regardless of what I say about my old man, at least as far as the military is concerned, he put the best foot forward that I've ever seen. Because most of these veterans that I see out here, they don't live up to the standard of my old man and my grandfather and my uncles and all of them, because they didn't run around and go, look at me, I'm a veteran, and then they try and relive their heydays, and then they try and pass it on to other people. And so when you run across these veterans, especially when they congregate in groups, now it is nice to have a community, because you guys have one thing in common, which is your veteran status, but it doesn't mean that you need to relive your heydays, start barking orders at people like they're there to serve you, like they're your subordinate, because that isn't right to the actual individual. Okay. And you're kind of nostalgia is great, but it's not all it was cracked up to be. Otherwise, you would have spent 20 years in there and you'd be collecting a retirement like my old man and like my grandfather. So, the veteran status, the veterans, if they get around in a group, you will start to see that come around. You also have your hustlers. Your hustlers are those that, like Puckett, he's a hustler, and not in a bad way. What he does is he goes around because he scavenges through stuff, because a homeless throw the trash away. And when they throw their trash away, sometimes they throw good things away. Sometimes because they're drunk or they're high or whatever, they are able to, they leave stuff behind. Like, I've had lots of stuff that come up missing. Things get caught in a move, like you moving from one area to another, you leave something behind, you don't realize it's valuable. He comes across it, he picks it up, he sells it, and trades it for whatever it is he needs, which is usually dip. So he's always asking, hey, can you buy me a can of dip? So that's people like Puckett. And then you also have what I like to call your flim-flam artists. I've met one of those in San Francisco. They're so good at getting you to believe these stories. Like, he had me believing that he used to sit down and talk with Robin Williams in the Rose Garden, which, from what I understand, he did sit down and talk with people, but the stories in which I was told really I don't think they were completely true. But the guy openly admitted that he was a flim-flam artist. You also know these people as like scam artists or fast talkers, people that will that will kind of talk you out of everything. Tricksters. Okay. And so you have those people within the community as well. Everybody is, and those people generally hang out within the Gypsy crowd. The Gypsy crowd actually has a bad name in some parts of the country, because, we understand who the Gypsies are. I mean, they're in some ways they're like a traveling band of thieves, and they're proud of it. I mean, there's some actually do legitimate hustles, but not very many. That's one of the things that I've noticed, because I've met a few gypsies, and the ones that have legitimate hustles are actually really cool. The other ones I just just because I don't believe in that lifestyle. But those are the different personalities that I can come up with. You also you have one other thing before I finish, because somebody made a comment. So if you are an older woman out here, you are called mama, mom. You could be big mama, little mama, or mama. But the older women that are mothers, that have had children, are generally called mama, because in a lot of ways they are the ones that keep the order. But some of them, like my ex's mother, I mean, they're toxic, and they create more harm than good, because within the homeless community, having the elders around is important, especially when passing on not only knowledge but just conduct and how to conduct yourself, because it's the old schools, which is what you get, what a older male gets called. And I'm reaching the age of being called an old school, but I'm not there quite yet. When I hit about 45 to 50, then they'll probably start calling me old school. But at that point in time, I will be looked at as more like a mentor, as somebody that will, when I say something, because I'm old school, I've been out here for a while, I've got my credentials. When I say something, it means it needs to get done, because I wouldn't say something to you unless I was willing to back it up. And the old geezers, man, they know how to fight. And Puckett and I, we kind of had a sparring match. We were just playing around, and he got up under me so quick. I mean, and this guy has back problems. So, I mean, just because they're old school doesn't mean that they can't fight. The fact is that they're probably better fighters than all these young kids who just think that they take a swing and you fall. Now, I mean, not to say that there's no good fighters out here, but also another personality that you have out here is the prison mentality. You have guys that either just got out of prison or just or spent so much time in prison that they became what you call institutionalized. And I've started seeing some of those pop up, and they will come up and they will kind of like try and assert their thing because they think that they're still in prison, either because they're acclimating back into real society, or they are or they just were in there for so long they just don't know how else to act other than that way. So those are the primary personalities that you're going to run into, and that is kind of a way to navigate yourself. Now there are some groups of people. There are they're not necessarily non-drug users, but like Puckett, he does all the drugs that he wants, but he's also trustworthy, and he does good by people. But he's also a hustler. If he doesn't keep his reputation good, then he'll lose his business. Which is why when he breaks up with a girl and what she does, it actually costs him money, and it costs him the ability to support himself. All because this is how women do their breakup. And you have people out here that they are able to do the drug. The drug is not doing them. And you also have people out here that the drug is doing them. But you also have people also out here that are what you would say, they're competent, they're civilized, and they may they may drink, they may smoke their weed, but those are generally they're very small community. That's kind of the community I went towards because that's my personality, and I kind of pulled Dina and Sabrina in that direction as well. That's why they got mixed up with the crowd that I'm in. Now that they're off on their own, they're in their appropriate crowd, which is the gossipers. You're gonna have gossipers, and you need to watch out for the gossipers, but listen to the gossipers as well. Listen to what they're gossiping about, because gossipers, they like to instigate stuff. They like to see things go, and the more that they can gossip about things that happened and either play victim or whatever, the happier they are. It's like their own little cheap little thrill. So again, those are all the personalities that I can think of out here as far as what you would have to deal with. But like I said, it's the lower echelons of society, and this has taken many years for these people to get this way. It's not like all of a sudden one day this was their personality and they came out here. No, this is actually something that the streets do to you over a period of time. This is why they say after 6 months, it's going to be much harder for you to get off the streets. Most people, if you're on the streets for at least 6 months, it'll take you about a total of 2 years to 2 to 3 years to get off the streets. And it's very small percentage, and I'm one of those people who are able to get off the streets in less than 6 months if I choose to. But the thing is I've come out here so many times that in my own little way, I've become institutionalized in my own right. This is the area, this is the venue in which I feel like I'm comfortable, even though I don't fit in personality wise with a lot of these people. I do fit into this has gotten to be a point that all I really know, especially when I lose things like losing my business, losing relationships, losing a job, I always end up coming outside. So again, I've been out here more times than I would like to admit, and I've tried to stay stable, but in one way, this is my true lifestyle. I mean, you can still be homeless and still be a civilized human being. It just means that you like living outside and living with no obligations. I mean, if you want to talk about minimalism, this is minimalism. So anyways, like, subscribe, share. The link to Patreon, if you're a subscriber, you'll get it in the community tab, or you can go through the affiliate links. I have not put that 2-person tent in there yet. I will try and get that done shortly. I've been really busy with the cold weather. Or you can leave something in my tip jar, PayPal, or if you don't like PayPal, you can do it through CashApp. I have my CashApp there too. So anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Go ahead. Explain that to me again.
Well, your shoes are getting rid of the shoestrings. They can be used for lots of things.
Like
use them for tie downs on your top.
Tent.
Yeah. Or if you get enough of them, you make a clothesline.
Okay.
Yeah.